Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
You're a child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
Yeah. Sure is hard to be a Seahawks fan these days. Actually, I'm a Packer fan. Packers are in my blood. I was born, you know. Well, at least this is what my mother says, which when you find out your mother is paranoid schizophrenic and you don't find out until she's in her 80s, it's kind of hard to believe anything anyway that your mother says. But she says I was born in Green Bay, so yay, I personally think that's a sweet little deal because I love the Packers, and so that's what I stick with. Yeah, I was born in Green Bay. Who really cares? I didn't live there. I never saw Green Bay, except Lambeau Field when I was very small. My uncle and my dad took me and my brother to Lambeau Field. This is before they reconstructed it, you know, upgraded it, made it better. This was back in the glory days of the Packers in the 60s, the late 60s. It would have been the middle 60s, actually, because my dad was ill in the late 60s. So anyway, yeah, it's really sweet to see a team. I've been here a long time. I've seen the Seahawks be treated like they're just a joke, you know, like football in the Northwest, in the Pacific Northwest, doesn't even exist. People who Seahawks? What the hell? Who the hell are the Seahawks? You know, for years it's been that way. And I'm sorry, but the referee job at the I can't remember what year it was. 2005, I think it was. The referee job at that Super Bowl with the Seahawks and the Steelers was so bad. It was so bad that people like myself who aren't experts at football could understand things that weren't touchdowns, were being called touchdowns. And that was a very good team that year too. We had a very good team the first time we went to the Super Bowl. And to see them come exploding out full of themselves and watch their morale just wilt because of they weren't just fighting the Steelers, they were fighting the referees. So anyway, it's sweet to see the Seahawks finally have their day. And I have seen the Packers go to the Super Bowl, I believe 3 times in my life, maybe 2 times that I really appreciated what it was. And it was exciting, but I don't live in Wisconsin. I live in Washington State. So I never really got to understand just how euphoric it is to be in the city where this is, you know, the victory team, the winning team. It's pretty amazing. And the team pride is awesome. It's so awesome to see. It just, yeah. I'm a Seahawks fan. You know, I always said, well, I'm a Packers fan. Seahawks, you know, they're my second team. Right now, the love is pretty strong for both. I've lived here most of my life. It's hard to not love and root for the team that's in your home. So anyway, this is not what my video is about, but I thought I'd start it out with, because this is just after last night the Seahawks plowed over the Chicago Bears. I believe it was 34-6, and that was with their mostly their starters. Anyway, I'm excited for the season, and I hope we have a season that totally kicks ass. I mean, it seems a little bit too much to hope for 2 Super Bowls in a row, but I hope that the champions show what they're made of all season. Okay, so should I just make this a separate video? Because this is not what it's about. This is not about the Seahawks. Okay, it's about me. Yeah, I've had a rather rough, shaky week on YouTube dealing with people. You know, there's the Christians that are the same old kind of Christians. I mean, they all talk the same talk. They all walk around. They all seem like they're walking around like this. And they talk to you like, oh yes, my son. God will forgive you. I pray for you in the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You know, really, they walk around, nothing ruffles their feathers. They're just, just, what's the word? They're just placid. Placid, is that the word? They're just one. They're one, yes, one. I've had to deal with Christians like that, you know. Oh, I understand. Don't be so angry, Diane. I'm so sorry Christianity hurt you. Or Christians, they don't say Christianity. I'm so sorry Christians hurt you. That doesn't mean that Christianity is wrong. Actually, it's not that the Christians have hurt me. One Christian hurt me, that would be my mother. But, you know, I've been a Christian a long time. I've known a lot of Christians. I've had a lot of Christian friends. Christianity, or Christians in general, have not hurt me. So the reason I'm an atheist now is not because I've been wounded or that I have a grudge with God. See, that's the part that Christians have an impossible task to grasp. It's like to accomplish, to complete. Why am I not getting the right words this morning? They just don't get that people don't believe in a God. It's like they can't even fathom that in their heads. Don't believe it. Oh, well, God must have pissed you. What did God do that disappointed you? You know, they act like the existence of this thing is a given. No, it isn't. All people have, oh, I had a warm, fuzzy thing happen. I'm going to say that God did that. I'm going to attribute that to God. Every good thing in my life that happens, I'm going to give God the glory. I'm going to give God the credit. And then when they've done that long enough and they're asked, oh, can you show me evidence for God? Look at my life. My whole life is evidence for God. Look at the world, the sunset, the babies, the flowers, the evidence for God everywhere. Because they've given credit to God for everything that they look around and see is good. Oh, there's God. Oh, God did that. No, that's nature. That's either you were lucky or you played really hard, like in the case of the Seahawks, you know, you played really hard, you gave it your best. You know, you put in an extra effort and you came out on top. Good things happened to you because maybe, you know, you're a good person and you attract good people around you, hopefully. You know, but you've given God the glory, so you're convinced that, oh, he's manifested himself in so many ways. No. I do think that there's such a thing as luck. It's 50-50, you know. Just like prayer, when you pray to God, it's 50-50 chance that you're going to have the answer you're hoping for. Christians, well, the other 50% is God saying no. No, that's just because your luck didn't go your way that time. You know, it's like no matter what, though, there's always an excuse, to keep the belief in this God alive. And they completely ignore the fact that there is no evidence at all to support this thing exists. Their evidence is their good fortune. What has happened in their lives, it's good. And the pretty world that they live in, that's because of God. No, it's because of nature. Everything. If, you know, we're not remotely to the point where we know everything, and we never will be. So there will always be things that we cannot explain, like how the universe began. We'll never know that. How can we ever possibly know that? You know? And so Christianity and religion in general just tries to fit, that's because of God. We're going to put God there. But everything that we have been able to decipher, you know, get to the bottom of, has had a natural explanation to it. Everything. Why do they think that the universe and the cosmos isn't the same way. There is no evidence anywhere to show a God or deities or supernatural beings exist. No evidence anywhere. Oh, well, we have the Bible and it was inspired by God. Why do you say that? Why do you think that? Because you've been told that your whole life. Because the book says. Because your religious organization that, ooh, it's so powerful and so many people believe, so it must be true, right? Your religious organization says that. It's hearsay. It's hearsay. All people need to do is research how the Bible came to be put together, how the cult started, what Christianity was like in its earliest stages before the historicized Jesus was invented. Because yes, Christianity existed before Jesus was invented. Or at least the Jesus that Christians know today, the walking, talking guy who had a Sermon on the Mount, which probably never really actually well, I don't think Jesus ever existed, but it is believed by many that the Sermon on the Mount was just a whatever it's a fabrication. It's a story. And they attribute to Jesus these are Jesus's words. All these words that Jesus says on the Sermon on the Mount come from older pagan faiths. They all have, if you dig into older, into the quotes and the sources of the quotes, they come from older faiths. Nothing that Jesus said on the Sermon on the Mount or anywhere else that he supposedly said is original. He didn't contribute to the wisdom of the planet in any way at all. None. It's all regurgitated wisdom from older faiths. So of course, yes, it makes sense and it sounds like, oh, it's so wise, and because it's been around a very long time and religions have taken it and adopted it because it's really good advice. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. These things are not from Christianity. They're from much older religions. Christianity wants to take the credit. They want to give it to Jesus, who was an invented thing. The earliest Christians believed that Jesus lived on a spiritual realm. Everything that happened, all the events that Paul describes happening to Jesus, he's talking about on the spiritual realm. And his Jesus was a spiritual Jesus only. There was a lot of opposition to the idea of making Jesus a historical character. Oh my gosh, you're trying to say that our Lord came from the loins of a mere woman? Yeah, that didn't go over well among extremely sexist, bigoted Middle Eastern men. But yeah, it's not that I hate Christians or that Christians hurt me. It's when you believe something, I've used this analogy before because it's so true. When you're a little kid and you believe in Santa, and then you find out Santa doesn't exist, and you find really good evidence to show that there's no reason to think that he does, why would you be able to go back to believing in Santa? I don't think so. It's the same with me. I researched, I discovered that this cult was, it's a manipulation. It's a cult. It's a group of people that wanted power. 40 some years after the alleged Jesus died, people started saying, well, this is what Jesus said. People who were born after he died, who never saw him, never walked with him, never heard him, writing like they are there, like they're actually there, like they're actually the disciples who walked with Jesus. No, the disciples, if he lived, who knows what their names were? Certainly wasn't Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are pen names for the anonymous people who wrote the Gospels. They weren't real. They didn't know him. They were born after he allegedly died. Oh, but somehow we know the words of Jesus. Nobody wrote down anything that he said during his lifetime, assuming he lived, which I don't. He himself never wrote a word. Nobody wrote a word about him that saw him preach. Nobody wrote anything about him ascending into heaven or about the tomb opening. There were some very I am having trouble with pronouncing words. Prolific. There were some very prolific historians alive while he was supposedly alive, even in Jerusalem, while he was supposedly in Jerusalem. Prolific historians that wrote about every little thing. Not a word about this guy. Oh, Josephus wrote, well, he was born after, decades after, I believe, this Jesus allegedly lived. Born after. It would be the same saying Josephus wrote about him. It's the same as saying, well, the Pope wrote a sentence about him yesterday. Why is it any different? It's hearsay. Okay. Well, there were Christians around when Josephus was alive. He heard the Christians talking about Jesus. He wrote about it. Actually, though, very likely he didn't, because the big part that has the Christians all, it's actually their best evidence for Jesus, and it's a forgery. Yeah, the paragraph that doesn't fit in the rest of the page. It's like, oh, let's talk about the weather. Jesus! And it's a perfect little paragraph that every Christian religious leader needed so desperately, because there wasn't a paragraph like it anywhere. And they needed it so bad to say, oh, it's true. This little perfect paragraph that no Jew would ever write, sitting there in the middle of a page talking about something completely different. Yeah, it's a interpolation. I don't know if that's the right word, but I like the word. It sounds smart. It's a forgery. It was a manipulation by the church. Just like destroying all the evidence of Mithraism was a manipulation of the church. So much of Mithraism was adapted by the Catholic Church, by the early church. And I believe the Catholic, I don't know, I'm treading on ground where I'm not super knowledgeable, but I believe that the Catholic form of Christianity is the older of the two forms. And, yeah, you know, having communion, Holy Communion, baptism, you know, the symbolism of the bread and the wine, all that comes from Mithraism. Having the holy day on Sunday, Mithraism. You know, even the cross of Mithra looks pretty darn close to the cross of Jesus, or ancient statues of Mithra's mother holding him. Looks a lot like the Madonna holding Jesus. Christianity in its earliest days was wiping out Mithraism. In fact, a lot of the earliest Christian churches were built on the foundation where Mithra churches were. Literally wiped out the church of Mithra and rebuilt their church on top of it. But, you know, if you go down in the cellar, you're going to see Mithraism on the walls. You're going to see signs of this older cult that is so similar to the early Christianity. In fact, if you look at the early Christianity, and again, I'm not anything. I didn't go to college. I'm just reading. I'm just saying what my impressions were from what I read. But it really looks to me like they mixed Judaism and Mithraism to create Christianity. Those two are, I mean, there could be other things too. I don't know. And I'm just guessing. Probably read it in one of the books I've read. But Mithraism, there's so much of it in Christianity. And Judaism, of course. You know, they want to hang on to the Old Testament because it gives the Bible some weight. We don't want, you know, you can skip over this part. This doesn't really pertain to us, but we keep it because, you know, it's got the story of Adam and Eve, which is really important because without that story, there's no need for a savior. There's no need to be saved. You know, so you got to have original sin, even though, you know, if you really examine that story, how does that make sense, really? That God would set up that scenario? So anyway, this has gone on a long time, but the point is I've had to deal with Christians like this this week. You know, the kind that just nothing, you know, I'm so sorry that you were hurt by Christians. But our religion is pure and wholesome and good. And Jesus is the source, the wellspring of all goodness. You know, if Jesus is God, then I'm sorry, but you're Jesus walking around on the earth. A couple chapters earlier was committing wholesale genocide on the human race and killing babies and commanding little fetuses be ripped out by the sword, ripped from the mother's belly by the sword. That's what your God was doing in the Old Testament. And if Jesus is God in the flesh, then I'm sorry, your meek, mild Jesus isn't so meek and mild. Yeah, Jesus the butcherer, Jesus the committer of atrocities and crimes against humanity. Worse than all the dictators of human history combined together. That's what the God of the Bible is, and that's what Jesus is, because he is God. So I'm sorry, your Jesus doesn't get to have a goody-goody, I'm the best, most sweet lover of people. Ooh, that sounds really nasty. He doesn't get to have that. I'm sorry, loving, meek, and mild Jesus doesn't get to have that with me because I've read the whole Bible. And I know the claims Christians make about Jesus. He's God, come down to earth. Well, then great. If he's God, he gets to have responsibility for God's actions, which I'm sorry, God is a monster. He's a monster in the Old Testament. He's a fucking human butcher machine. That's what he does. He gets off on destroying and killing anybody who isn't in the tribe of Israel. And that includes, Christians have a problem against abortion. That includes unborn babies too. So the other Christian I've had to deal with this week is the one that says that I'm a shallow person because I don't believe in Jesus. I'm a shallow person. You must be so shallow. I wonder if he thinks that all people of other religions, other beliefs, are they shallow too? Because he seems to connect being a worshiper of Jesus with how deep you are as a person. How much depth you have as a human being. You have to believe in Jesus to have any character or any depth. Is it true if you believe in Muhammad? If you believe in Krishna? If you're a Wiccan? As long as you have spiritual beliefs, do you get to still be considered a deep person, or is everybody shallow except Christians? Is that how some Christians view non-believers or people who believe in other things? Just empty shells walking around, shallow, empty shells walking around because they don't have Jesus. I don't like people who judge me, who don't even know me. I was thinking about this. I was thinking, what has happened in my life since I've become an atheist? I've killed the poor me stuff. It's still there, but I don't think about it like I used to. It doesn't have control over me anymore. I used to walk around needing a crutch. What was the crutch? I needed to believe that somebody cared for me. I needed to believe that I was loved. That was my crutch. And what put it there was the Christian religion. Having this belief that Jesus always is there, that Jesus cares, that Jesus will uphold me in the storm, that Jesus will help me through. It's a crutch. And, it made me not ever understand how strong I am as a person. I never discovered my own strength as a person because I had this crutch. When I became an atheist, I realized it's just me. I'm by myself. I'm the only one that can take care of me. Friends? Family? No. Cults? Hell no. It's just me on this earth. It's me against the world. And what has happened to me? I don't take meds anymore for depression. I don't see a counselor anymore. I don't sit and cry for days anymore. I've gone through some really rough times. I lost my job. I was on unemployment. That's kind of a really hard thing on the self-esteem. I got a job that I didn't like, a little temp job that I didn't like that paid me like nothing. I didn't get to keep that job because it was a bad fit. I was miserable there, and no wonder they didn't want me after the contract was over. I was miserable there. It was a horrible place to work. The morale was down. It was just not a good place. So then I was like, okay, do I go back on unemployment? Or by that time I had learned about Uber and Lyft. Oh, maybe, and I was making good money on the weekends. Maybe I'll just drive for these guys and not go back on unemployment. And wow, you know what? In those weeks that I drove only, that's all I did for my job, I made a lot more money than I ever did when I was working and driving both. I could drive full time and just make a lot of money, but it's really hard on the car. But the point is, it's like, instead of falling back into the depths of despair because, oh my gosh, Melina didn't want me, I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we can go back on unemployment, or we can try to, and it's kind of scary not working and not having an employer. Totally just being out there like a free spirit. I made more money in those weeks than I made when I was working. And then along comes an interview, and I'm like, well, do I really want to go to this interview? Because I'm doing pretty good on the money right now, but then there's no chance to have insurance. There's no chance to, there's so much benefits to having a job, security, like in the winter. What is driving going to be like in the winter, and what kind of rates am I going to get? What kind of money am I going to earn? So I went to the interview, and it was a lot more like the job I used to have. It wasn't a call center. It was a billing job like I used to have. I went to the interview on a Wednesday. On a Thursday, the temp agency calls me. They want you to start Monday. This is a temp to hire position. It pays about $2.40 less than what I was making in Swedish, but about $3 more than I was making, $3 more an hour than I was making at Molina. So it's a pretty good job. It's not as far away as Seattle is. It's a billing job. I've been there a month. I feel like I fit. They like me. I'm pulling my I think I'm going to be I think they're going to hire me. I have a good feeling. I don't see why not. They're training me in everything. They said in the interview they clearly want somebody that is going to become permanent. All I have to do is be a good worker and you know, and every day I get up, oh God, I don't want to, oh wait, yes I do want to go to work. I like it there. So that's what I've been doing for the last month. And I still drive. Between the two jobs, you know, I'm making pretty good money every week. And the feeling I have is just, I feel so self-sufficient. I feel so confident. I realize my own strength. I realize I'm a person of value and I have something to offer. So yeah, I have gained in so many ways since I lost the cult, the belief system. You know, people like, well, how can you say Christianity harms people? It does in such insidious ways. I think that's the right word. You know, thinking that you can't live on your own, thinking that you can't be strong by yourself, thinking that you can't be good without God. All these things that Christianity does to somebody. I didn't realize how badly it harmed me until I was out of it. And now I'm just like, wow, you know, I'm a good person. I've always been a good person. And I am a deep thinker. I have a lot of depth to me. You know, I'm the kind of friend, if you call in the middle of the night, I will be there. I have taken people in my car, you know, oh, you know, well shoot, we're in rush hour right now and you're just sitting here. I'm going to knock 10 minutes off your trip. I've done that many, many times because I don't really feel right about making people sit still and have to pay me for sitting still. I don't think a lot of drivers do that, but I do. So yeah, I do think I'm a good person. I think that I have a lot of depth. I mean, it's kind of I don't like to sound stuck up or something, but I do like myself. I don't know if I'm to the point where I can say I love myself yet. It's a long way to go from where I was, but I'm to the point now where I look in the mirror and I like myself. I don't care if I don't look, you know, the way I wish everybody wants to be beautiful. And it's like, I in my car, I see beautiful women all the time and I look at them and it's like, that's not me. Even, you know, I was made the way I am because this is the way I am. This is how nature created me. This is how I was formed. I like digging in the dirt. I like digging for rocks. I like animals. You know, I like nature. I like hikes. I like football. You know, I'm not a girly girl. It's not just facial. It's not just the face. It's not just the hair. It's not just how they walk. Well, it is how they walk. It's how they talk. It's how they sit. Everything. It's not me. I'm never going to be that way. I'm me. And comparing yourself to other people is another thing that's just like, why? You're never, you are you. I am me. I'm happy with me. And I feel self-sufficient. I feel strong. I feel worthy. I feel like I have value. And these things I've developed since I left Christianity. So yeah, I've gained in so many ways. And I am not a shallow person. And people who would say such a thing is so arrogant to say that you're a shallow person because you don't believe the way I do. It's like beyond arrogant. It's like, how can anybody have the audacity to say that to somebody else? They don't even know. You know, oh, well, I know you. I've seen your videos. You're just full of hate about Jesus. All you do is make hate videos about Jesus. No, I don't really hate. I don't make hate videos about Jesus because I don't hate Jesus. You can't hate something that's a fictional character. That's like saying character. It's like saying you hate Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Oh, you hate Sauron so much. You're going to make a bunch of hate videos. Do I make hate videos about Sauron? No, because he's a fictional character. What I do hate is the cult that poisons people's lives the way it poisoned my life. And I hate what it does to society, what I see it doing every single day. Just read the paper. There's always something in the paper what Christians or Christianity is doing now to hurt people, to bash people's rights, to stand in the way of people's right to have, just be happy. I hate this cult. I hate what it does. I think it has contributed to the attitude that the earth is temporary and disposable, and that life is just here for this, to suit humans. Other life is just here for humans to use up. I think Christianity contributes to that mentality. And I think it's caused detrimental harm to the planet. I think it's caused harm to society. I think the decline of America, the United States, in my lifetime, I've seen the United States decline in a rather alarming way. I think Christianity has that a lot of it has to do with Christianity, fundamental Christianity, I think is a poison that's causing harm to my country. And I hate it, and I will oppose it, and I will put videos up opposing it. I don't hate your stupid Jesus character. I don't hate your stupid imaginary friends. I hate the cult that spreads the lie, that causes this poison to weaken this country, to weaken people's self-esteem, to take away people's dignity, tries to take away people's dignity, women's dignity, gay people's dignity, telling gays it's a choice. You don't make a choice who you fall in love with or who you are attracted to, unless maybe you're bisexual. If you're bisexual and you're in denial and you're in the closet, but you're bisexual, then yeah, maybe you're going to think sexuality and who you're attracted to is a choice. But I don't think most heterosexual people would agree with you. So anyway, this has turned out to be a really fucking long video, so I'm going to end it. But I just wanted to make a video about my feelings about some of the Christians that I've had to encounter this week. It's like trying to turn back the tide. There's just so much bad. It's a fight that I will never see the end of in my lifetime. But I'm going to contribute to it with all my might. So, and if people don't like it, I don't give a rat's ass, really. For the first time in my life, I believe in what I'm doing. I feel like I'm doing something that means something, and I believe in it, and it makes me feel really good. I am helping people. I'm doing my best with my life to help other people, and that's what I'm about. So anyway, sorry to get serious, but there it is. If you've been watching, thanks. Bye.
I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt.